Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Fitbit Charge 5. So, let's get started. First, let's talk about this tracker's features. So this is actually Fitbit's most advanced tracker and their latest model of the most advanced tracker. It's the Charge 5, which you will have already seen by seeing the thumbnail and title of this video. But the first thing probably that you'll notice when you pick it up is that it's nice and cold to the touch, and that means it's metal. What type of metal, I hear you cry? Stainless steel, and I think that feels very nice. And I'm still waiting to see if it does make it more or less robust though, which, if it makes it less robust, could be a little bit of a con of having stainless steel. But that feels nice. So, the display now. This is a very nice bright display, and you'll probably notice that anytime you see the Charge 5 in a photo, it's got a very nice colourful touchscreen display, and that's very useful. It's a very nice display, and even in the brightest sunlight I think you could still make this out just about. It's not blindingly bright, but it is very nice and bright, especially for the size, and it's got very nice colour range as well. It doesn't feel like a cheap display, it feels like the type of display you get on a high-end phone, which I love. And it's a very nice display. So let's get started with the features now by talking about the apps. So I'll just go through a list of apps that you can get on this. So I've currently got the notifications, the exercise, the alarms, the timers, and the EDA scan. You can also get an ECG scan, but I don't have this, as that is a scan that checks for signs of AFib, and I'm not 22, so I'm not eligible for this yet. But I will talk about these other apps. So notifications is basically an app where if your device that you've got it paired to, a phone or a tablet or a computer, gets a notification, this will show you it. And with some, you can use quick replies, but I think for this it's only the Fitbit app, sadly, I think, but I'll have to check that one out. I've tried to use quick replies with like iMessage, but I don't think that's working at the moment. I think it can store up to 10 notifications, and let's get moving on to the exercise now. So you can add up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 exercise modes. So currently, was I wrong? Oh yes, I was. 6. So I've currently got swim, walk, spinning, which is like indoor biking, indoor treadmill, workout, and outdoor workout. And then at the bottom it actually says, want more? Edit exercise shortcuts in your Fitbit mobile app. So yes, that is where you edit them. You can have up to 6, as I now know, and you just swipe to delete and then pick a new one. And this, coming on to the exercise app, has built-in GPS, which is a great feature. The Charge range has had that since the Charge 4, coming out 2 years before this one. Nope, 1 year. And I have had some trouble connecting to GPS, but I know it can work, it does work, it's just me. So it doesn't automatically connect to GPS on stuff like swim, but on things like walk, stuff that you might want GPS, a route workout, a route map, then you can. And it says GPS connecting, that's about as far as I've got so far, but when it does connect, whoops, I just started it, you'll be able to see a route workout, keep saying that, a route map, and it will be easy to do this without your phone, and you can see your pace as well, and you can see your heart rate in each section of your route map, which is a really cool feature. And the GPS, you can use phone GPS and dynamic GPS for this, but if you don't want to bring your phone with you every time you have a workout, then you can just use this standalone device, but it does impact the battery quite a lot. but you're not going to be spending the whole time using this. So the battery should last, I would say, around 5 days. Anyway, that's what I've seen so far anyway, because since I charged this to 100% yesterday, it's lost 30%. But I have been using it a lot, so I would say it's probably advertised as about 7. Let me check that out and then tell you. So I've just been looking for a battery life rating for this, and shockingly enough, knowing Fitbit, because they always like to tell everyone how good the battery is, but there's not one, so which is a bit of a shame, and to be honest, not very good. I hope it's just that I couldn't find one, but I really couldn't find one. Anyway, I would say, based on what other people have said and from my experience, that you would get about 5 days or more from this without any of the big battery life impact features turned on, such as built-in GPS for workouts. That would impact the battery, and always on display certainly would as well. And I would also say that max brightness would, but if you're not using the display a lot, then even with always on display, it doesn't keep the display at max brightness, it will turn it to dim. Which is good. So even always on display, it does impact the battery, but not as much as it would if it was just max brightness the whole time. So, excuse me, Fitbit. Let's move on to the alarms app now. So, with alarms, you can set alarms actually on this device. Currently I have one for 7:14 on weekdays without Smart Wake. Smart Wake, I'll move on to that in a minute. But, so you can just set alarms like this. I shall show you. You click this big yellow button that says new alarm, and then you select the time, anytime, and then anytime you like. Yeah, and then you've set an alarm for 8:03 AM. I could not see what I was doing, so. And you can say when it repeats, how often it repeats, and if it repeats. It doesn't have to repeat. And then now it's Smart Wake. So Smart Wake is a feature that detects when you're sleeping, and it detects if you're in light or deep or REM sleep, and it avoids waking you up during deep sleep, so that you're more likely to wake up feeling nicer and refreshed. So it takes away half an hour from your time. So if you set it at 8:03, it could go off from 7:33 AM to 8:03 AM, and it finds in between that time the best time to wake you up and when you're most likely to feel refreshed. If it can't find a good time to wake you up, then it will just wake you up at the time set. And you can control everything about these alarms. On many Fitbits you can't, but it's cool that you can on this one. You can set alarms, and you can delete alarms, and you can edit alarms, and many stuff like that. And although I have said that you can't do it on many others, that's older ones. Probably you can on all the modern ones now. So now timers. This is a timekeeping app, a bit like alarms, and it can do timers and stopwatch. So countdown and stopwatch, and you can add a countdown, and it's a bit like setting an alarm. You just set an alarm from, well, a time from any time, and it can be any time, and then you just set it going, and you press play, and you can pause and play as many times as you like before it goes off. And if you want to get rid of it before it goes off, then just swipe up and press reset, that little swirly arrow button. And you can't have multiple countdowns going on at once, just one, but it can run in the background, which is good. And you can have stopwatch, which is basically you just press play and it counts the time. It doesn't count milliseconds, it just counts seconds and minutes, and probably hours once you get onto that, but maybe it stops at 59 minutes, don't know. So you can pause and play these as many times as you like countdowns, so that's good. And another thing I didn't talk about with countdowns is that I think the longest you can set it on this device is 59 minutes and 59 seconds. On other devices you could set it all the way up to 99 hours and 59 minutes, which is a lot longer than you probably would in most cases. But it's a bit of a shame that you can't do that on here. But to be honest, you're more likely to need seconds and minutes than minutes and hours. So, the other app that I was talking about is the EDA scan, electrodermal activity scan. So you can set a time of any time from 2 to 7 minutes. And what it does is you have to wear it while you're doing this. Let me just quickly get this on and then I'll demonstrate. I'll just talk while I'm doing that. So it detects your electrodermal activity by you putting your fingers on the sides of this device, on the metal sides, which are the electrodermal activity sensors. And the more electrodermal activity responses your body has, the more stressed it thinks you are. So it can be 2 to 7 minutes, any of those times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 minutes. Can't be 1, can't be 8 or anything below or above that. And during the session it gives you instructions, not during the session but before the session it has a during the session bit where it gives you instructions. It says, during your session, gently hold the sides of your device for 2 minutes. It depends how long you set the time, it can be 2 to 7 minutes. Remember to keep still and follow these steps to uncover your body's response. Oh! Lovely. So, what you do is you start, and it says stay still, and then it says start by holding the sides. Sorry, got cut off there by my naughty GoPro. So you basically start by holding the sides, as I mentioned in the previous clip. And you hold your device's sides, and then it just says, it gives you like a little thing on the bottom, a message, and it's got a countdown ring in the middle, and it says the time left on the top. And if you unhold the sides, then it just says pause, hold sides to resume, and then you can end session if you like. So at the end of the session, it will ask you how you're feeling. Very calm, neutral, stressed, or very stressed. You can always change that later on, and it will tell you how many responses you had and whether it was an upwards or downwards trend. The more responses you had, the more stressed you are. The less responses you had, the less stressed you are. So I think that will do for the EDA app. So, a few more things to talk about in the features, and then we'll move on to the comfort. So, from the clock face, you go, and then you can go to payments, do not disturb mode, sleep mode, and whether screen wake is auto or manual. So that basically turns on or off the flick your wrist to wake. And you can find your phone like this. Excuse me. Okay. Yep. Something's in my neck. Yeah. So a bit deafening. Not very pleasant, but works. And you can turn on or off waterlock. You can go into settings. In settings, you'll have display settings, quiet modes, heart rate, active zone minutes notifications, vibrations normal or strong, GPS, device info, and restart device. So, I think that we've covered the features, but just we'll finish off by covering what it tracks. So, on the clock face, it shows some of these activities, what it tracks, and the date, depending on which clock face you have. But it tracks your steps, your distance, your active zone minutes, your calories, your hourly activity, which I like to call hourly steps. You can set this on or off. It's 250 or more steps per hour, and it gives you a reminder 10 minutes before the hour. Or it should. I don't know if it does. I think it does, because it does on most other Fitbits. And it tells you your heart rate. Mine is currently 83 beats per minute. And it tells you your resting heart rate. Mine is 72 beats per minute. It tells you your sleep. Mine was 7 hours and 53 minutes. And it tells you your sleep score, which is a score from 0 to 100, maybe 1 to 100, to rate your sleep. With Fitbit Premium, which is a feature on the app, it gives you a breakdown of your sleep score. and it has SpO2, and that's your blood oxygen saturation. And mine was 95% average last night. And it says which days you've completed your exercise out of your goal. So, now let's move on to comfort. So, this is where I'm just going to talk about quickly how this feels on your wrist, if it feels comfortable. So, I shall take it off first to show you. So, on seeing this, it probably does look slightly bigger than most slim fitness trackers. Not any bigger than smartwatches though. It's nice for a tracker with packed in so many features. But you may think it feels a bit uncomfortable. That is exactly what I thought compared to the previous Fitbit that I had, which was the Inspire 2, which was a very small tracker. Very nice small tracker. I'll actually go and fetch that to you now to show you the difference. Right, I've got the Inspire 2. So this is the Inspire 2. Very slim, nice and sleek. It's very nice. But then the Charge 5 does look shockingly bigger. But that is at first glance. And once you see it for a while, it's actually similar, very similar. And the Fitbit Inspire 2 fits really nicely, but so does the Charge 5. The Charge 5, a bit like the Inspire 2, you can hardly tell it's there. If you've got it in the right position on your wrist that Fitbit recommends, which is 2 fingers away from your that bone there, I think. Depends if you're doing exercise or not though, but that's for daily use. You hardly know it's there, and it feels very nice. And for me, and because even though I am not an adult, it fits my wrist, even my small wrist, very nicely. And if your wrist is very big, then you can use the large band as well, so that's not a problem. So I think this feels very nice, and that it doesn't interrupt your daily life. You can clap, you can shake your hands, you can do anything you like, and it's not going to like make you think, oh, my wrist, I need to take this off, oh, it's a pain. It's not going to make you think that. You're hardly going to know it's there. Good, isn't it? I agree. Well, now I've talked about the comfort, let's move on to the pros. So, I'm going to list the pros now. The pros are that it's got a very, very nice touch screen, a bright colour touch screen, and that it's very comfortable even though it's got a lot of features. And that is one of the pros as well, that it's got a lot of features, and that it's not too expensive, £129.99. It is enough, certainly, but compared to the other Fitbits, which are not a lot cheaper, especially as Fitbit do a lot of offers, this one is sometimes, when it's on offer, about as cheap as this one was on first launch, and it has a lot more features than the Inspire 2, or the Inspire 3, which is the latest now. So that's very good. The price, I would say, is reasonable, and it's got a nice range of apps, which is also good. The built-in GPS is good, and the battery life is always good on Fitbits compared to like an Apple Watch. Apple Watches, they have been improved, to be fair, a lot recently, but they still won't last you like enough time to just like go on a like 3 or 4 day holiday and not have to worry at all about bringing a charger, which most Fitbits you can do, which is very nice. So now let's move on to the cons. Right, so I can actually only think of about 2 cons for this, because it is overall an incredible tracker. I'm sure I'll think of more, but at the moment there's 2 main cons, but these could also be pros. It depends who you are. So firstly, there is no buttons on this. Fitbit used to do buttons, even though they recently were capacitive buttons. Now they've ditched the buttons altogether, which for some people can be extremely frustrating. But although you think it's impossible to use without buttons, it doesn't take a lot of getting used to. I got used to it very quickly. I've only had this for a very short time, since yesterday, spoiler. And I'm already used to it without buttons. Occasionally it does click the old thing when you don't want it to, but if you get nice and snappy and know how to use it, then it should be not very hard to use. One more con is that I forgot the con. That's a bit embarrassing. Let me just remember that. Right, apologies for that. I did actually forget it, and it took me a few minutes to remember it. So I've now at last remembered it. So they have updated the strap, the fastening mechanism. So I'll take this off to demonstrate. So this is it now. So you feed the strap through here, and then you use this little fastener here to click through one of the holes, and then once you've done that, you pull the rest of the band through here and under. Like the no buttons, it does take a little bit of getting used to the new strap. I mean, depending on which one you had before this, maybe the one you had before this also had this strap. But coming from this more traditional strap, where you have this little fastener and then the little thing to hold the band in place, although it takes a little bit of getting used to, I would actually say that this could be, please fry, thank you, that it could be a pro or a con, depending on, again, who you are and if you like having the new fastening or old fastening. Personally, I would actually like this more than the original one, but I could very much see that you might not, because it's slightly more fiddly sometimes, and putting it on when it's already on your wrist is sometimes a bit of a job. But I would say it's probably about as secure. It may wear over time, I'll have to see about that, but it's definitely a more reliable one, because this one, often this comes off or this snaps. I'm sure you've experienced that before, but I would say it's quite good, this one. It shouldn't do that. Of course, I haven't seen if it does, but I would say it looks a lot more strong. Now, the final topic, is it worth it? Well, that strongly depends on who you are. If you are someone just looking for something to track your steps and maybe your heart rate, but you don't need that, and just your time of sleep, you're not really worried about REM data or SpO2 tracking, then no, you don't need to pay that. You can get a Fitbit Inspire 2 for £49 now, which is a lot cheaper, because this one's normally £129, but it often has offers, so it's often like £90 or something, which is good. So it's more worth it then. But this one is a lot of features for the cheap price. Of course, this is older now, so that's why the price has gone down. But if you're not someone who needs all the massive features, I would not recommend the Charge 5, no. Now, if you are someone who likes features, if you want everything, if you want all the REM, all the oxygen saturation tracking, all the EDA sensors, all the ECG scanning, all the heart rate, all the resting heart rate, you can have this on that, but I'm just listing all the features it has. And it has a lot of features, a lot of cool features, the built-in GPS, then I would recommend this. Personally, I am someone who would like all of those features, because I love having a more detailed insight and being able to do stuff without relying on your phone to be the GPS system. You can use that on this, but I prefer to use the built-in GPS, even though it's sometimes slightly unreliable, but I don't know if it is for others, as I've mentioned. So, that's it for Is It Worth It? Basically your decision. If you want more features, then go for the Charge 5. If you don't want loads and loads of features, then you can just go for a more cheaper one, which is going to get the job done very nicely, but it doesn't have all the massive great features, which not everyone needs. So thank you for watching that video, and I'll see you in the next one.